Hey everyone. Well, we are here back with Matthew Uden from W. Uden and Sons Funeral Home over in England. Matthew and his family have some funeral homes in the outskirts of London, and we checked in with him early on during the COVID-19 pandemic to see how things were going across the pond with our friends. And so we're checking back in now. We're a few weeks later. Matthew, give me an update. Kind of how is it now in terms of busyness and, just give me a good update on what's going on with you guys.
Hi, Kari. So a lot has changed actually since we last spoke. When we last spoke, I think we was at really at the beginning of the pandemic, and we was doing as a company around sort of 30 to 40, well, we would normally be doing 30 to 40 funerals a week. Now we see during that 2 or 3 week period, we was looking after sort of 60 to 70 funerals a week, and it was really very, very hard. Because also what was happening was during that time, where it was the early stages, that was the time where the changes was occurring as well. So the government was laying their guidelines, so which there was a spiral effect on everything that we was doing. So, the 1 minute there was limousine hire, next minute there wasn't. 1 minute you was allowed 100 people at a funeral, then all of a sudden it was 50 people, then 20 people. And it was very hard for everyone, because, especially for families, because for them to have to keep on getting new information, it was very difficult. But since then, I'd say, as I say, that was about 4 weeks ago now. In the past couple of weeks, things have definitely slowed down. For families, for everyone, it's amazing, because it's giving everyone a chance to really breathe and sort of refocus, because it was very difficult. It was very challenging times, but we've definitely noticed in the past 2 or 3 weeks that things have slowed down. So good news.
Where are you at in terms of attendee numbers? What are you allowed right now?
So basically, no more than 20. Our funeral directors is across 4 different boroughs, so we're allowed just on average either 10 people or 20 people. Again, all of those 10 or 20 people have to be socially distanced. In the chapels, everyone, if you're in a separate family, everyone is sitting separately as such. So, but it's between 10 and 20 people who are going.
Now, I know during kind of the height, you were coming up with as creative ideas as you could, I think, as a lot of funeral directors are, to help families and try and find creative ideas. When you couldn't do limousines because of the close proximity, you were hiring out are they called black cabs or black taxis or, yeah. And I thought that was so creative. So you were bringing in, black vehicles, just smaller ones. But you were also, in doing that, creating revenue for some of those businesses that maybe weren't getting as much revenue. So how long did you do that for? And are you still doing some of that?
So how that come about, Kari, was a priest needed a lift to go to a crematorium. And we obviously are practicing our social distancing, so we couldn't actually offer a lift within 1 hour. So we organised a black taxi. Once we organised a black taxi, it gave us the idea of actually they would be the most ideal form of transport for families to travel to funerals, and still manage to make it a sense of occasion, because the black taxis, they can hold up to 5 people. So the idea is they could go to every different home address, because if you're allowed, say, if 15 people are going to the funeral, they can then pick up 3 separate families. Everyone can be social distance. And in a weird way, there's that London tradition of a black taxi. They've got the screen so they can social distance, so the driver's safe. They're all vinyl, they're all air conditioned, and they kind of look a bit funeral-esque as well, So yeah, it looked fantastic. We've done several funerals, and we still are doing funerals with the black taxis travelling behind our hearses, and you know, it gives that traditional aspect. And say it's all about keeping our eyes open, thinking of new ideas and being innovative, because during these times, anything what we can do to help families and give them the best service we can is what we aim to do.
Well, you might start a new trend that way. You know, I think some of the things we're picking up and doing during this time are going to stick, where people down the road, when it's not something we need out of necessity, people might still be requesting to have drive-by visitations like we're having here in America, and might still be request the black taxi just because they like the look of them, or they like the families riding in smaller vehicles. And I think some of these things could become new trends.
Absolutely. And again, who knows when this will be over, or how it will end as such. Because, say, we've got a fleet of 9 limousines, or brand new limousines sitting there, you know, completely, you know, useless as such. And that's absolutely not, because we are totally aware that we don't want to put anyone in jeopardy, you know. Right. So we have no qualms with leaving the fleet out. But by using people like a black taxi during this time, they're struggling for work. And again, just discussing it with them, I just think it's ourselves doing a little bit of good for the economy as well, to try and get people involved. And if people, you know, we want to be working. People out there want to be working, and you know, and they want to help. So that's really good. Sorry, I went off course a little bit, but in the traditions and things, I think there definitely will be changes. I think things will change. What we don't know, I mean, I attended a funeral of a former colleague yesterday, and we've done a graveside service. And what I noticed, and the saddest part for me, was the knowing that after a funeral, where it's very traditional here in England, you go back to the wake and you do have a good old drink, you know, and talk about your stories about your loved ones, friends, family there. And I almost feel right now that's the hardest thing, because we went to the service and it was a lovely, lovely service. But afterwards, we all stood and had a chat for 5 minutes. But normally people would stand and have a chat for 2 or 3 hours talking about their loved one. And that's what cheers everyone up as such. Mm-hmm. You know, that's where it becomes more of a celebration of life. But now you can't do that because there's nowhere to go. And I think things will change, but what at the moment, I'm not too sure. I
think looking back, this will be such a short time period, but right now when you're in it, it just seems endless, and it seems long, and the days are long, and each family it seems harder for, but looking back will be not as, you know, it'll be such a quick moment in the history, but I think it'll be very defining for us as an industry and us as people. So I know as a company now, you have started a few weeks ago a candle lighting service on Thursdays at 8:10 p.m. for kind of a shout out to the NHS workers and just a remembrance of everyone who's lost someone during this time. And you've been, every week it's a little different with singing and candle lighting and readings. And what was your thoughts and why you started that?
Every Thursday, at the beginning of the Covid-19 outbreak, the government set in that we was going to clap for the NHS and key workers. And that happens every Thursday at 8 o'clock. And it really brings the country together. It's fantastic. It's really sort of a really lovely thing to do, because, again, the hard work that they're doing and keeping people alive is just amazing. And, you know, they're working so hard. But we then decided at 8:10 to sort of follow on from the back of that. The fact that you go outside, you do your clap, then you come back indoors and you light a candle. Now, the sort of reference behind the lighting of a candle is on the news every night. They give a death toll, and I feel it's being lost. The fact that death toll, they're not numbers, they're actually people. And it's very easy to sit and watch the news and just talk about X amount of people who have died. Very easy to forget that these are people, and these are affecting not just one person, but thousands of people. So their families are grieving on their own. And, you know, every funeral we do, when there's only 10, 5 people able to attend, it's very sad. And we wanted to try and get the message across, as I say, not just locally in London, not just nationwide, but worldwide, because end of the day, those people who are grieving, I feel it's nice if they know that there's someone thinking about them, someone lighting a candle for them. And, you know, it may seem a bit cheesy, I don't know, but end of the day, it is doing something a little bit, lighting a candle. We're telling people, getting the message across that you're not alone. You may feel alone, but we're there. Our thoughts are with you. And again, we have loved doing the service because it's such a nice thing. You know, we're getting lovely messages through saying, you know, we're lighting our candle every week. And at the very beginning, all we said was, if this helps one person, then we will carry on doing it, because, you know, that's what it's all about. You know,
well, and I know you've got people watching you every week.
We do this profession because.
Yeah, I think it's nice that you have a following, even if it's 5 people that every week are watching you. Those are 5 people that need something to look forward to, something to feel like they're being a part of. And I think that's a big thing right now, is that people feel like they want to support and encourage and be part of something, and they don't know what, and this gives them something to be part of from their homes.
Yeah, going back to a couple of previous points, and so I'll try and get into where we were talking. But yeah, so when you say, Kari, about the changes, again, what I'd like to see is, because there's been some positive changes within the profession. So at the moment, people are, when someone passes away, they're able to register over the phone, and a lot's being done over email. And as I say, that has really helped move things on quicker. So during the period where it was extremely busy at the beginning of the outbreak, where rules were changing, it was still taking families a week to register. Whereas now you can register basically on the day that someone's passed away. And yes, there's personal touch lost there, but actually it shows that things can get turned around a lot quicker. And that is very helpful. Also, with the doctor's papers, in England, there's 2 doctors who signed the paperwork to allow the cremation to go ahead. Now only 1 doctor signs the paperwork. And again, that's incredibly helpful to move things on quicker, and that definitely helps for families, because it's a lot less stress and concern about, you know, I kind of believe we're all a bit like this, where we have a tick box and we like to, you know, tick the boxes, and there's less boxes to tick as such, and they can actually spend their time thinking about their emotion, their grieving, rather than paperwork.
No, I think that's great. That was the question that I lost when we were discussing, and I was going to ask about that timeline, because that's been a big thing. I know in my initial video, that was a big thing that I think struck me when I visited England, was that timeline, that if you got a little delay here, a little delay here, you could have this huge delay within the process. And so if any of those things can be sped up a little bit, it definitely helps that 2 to 3 week time frame that could be a delay in place. So I think that's essential. And like you said, that may continue then on, now that you know it works. That's great.
Yeah, that's it. Hopefully they won't go back to the old way, because it does work. But things are slowly opening back up now. They're sort of easing the restrictions. Again, who knows? I mean, that could cause another outbreak. We really don't know, because they've only started doing that this week. So that may cause some, you know, another busy period, which, again, who knows? It's not the government's fault. I don't look at the government at all and think they're doing the wrong thing, because end of the day, the economy needs to get up and running as well, because the fallout from this may even be worse than COVID-19.
Well, Well, thank you, Matthew, for checking in with us and updating us on how it's going there. Always thinking about you guys. Just stay safe and keep doing what you're doing.
Okay.
Bye, guys.